Hi guys, thanks so much for coming.
Hi.
Hi.
I know last time we kind of recapped the ground rules, but just to go over them super quick, everybody, remain respectful of other people's opinions and make sure that we're being attentive and paying attention and active listening and all the great things. So we're gonna start with an icebreaker, and the icebreaker this week is over the last week, who helped fill your cup? Should I go first? I I think that I remember the last time we met, I talked about having a really great week, and that week was like the light at the end of my tunnel. But I feel like this week, I feel like I took like 12 steps backwards, which I hate when
Mm-mm.
that happens, right? Because I was in like such a good headspace, and then like a million things happened, and I was like, here we go. Um, but I feel like trying to keep a positive mindset and being around like my friends and my husband, they all really helped me, stay level-headed and not get in my head too much about it. Like just because you have a bad day doesn't mean you have a bad life. And I have a really hard time remembering that. So, um, yeah, my friends and my husband definitely helped me get through the week and still have hair left on my head. So, who's
It's
that?
not great yet.
Yeah, right. Michelle, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, same with you. I mean, I guess my kids and my family keep me grounded. At work, I do have somebody who, I mean, I mentioned my supervisor, but I do have somebody who's always coming in my office and helping me out. He was a little annoying at the beginning of my internship where he was a little much,
Mm-hmm.
um, and kind of cocky with the way he was coming at me, and it made me feel kind of made me feel stupid at first.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been super helpful to me and always like challenging me and things like that and giving me different handouts and anything that he has used that was super helpful to him. So I appreciate him very much. So he has been great to me. So I think he's helped fill my cup a lot.
Good.
But yeah, always definitely my family, my kids, they keep me going. And yeah, so
Good. I
that's
love
what I
that.
have. Yeah. Yeah.
Shauna, what about you?
Um, so my husband surprised me with tickets to Ellie King on
Oh.
Friday, and I was like, I don't even have any cowboy boots. I was like, they do have some at Walmart that are not that expensive, but I don't really have time. And he sent me a picture and he was at Walmart. He's like, "Are these the ones?" And he brought me my cowboy boots. And I
Oh,
was like, "This is why I married you. This right here.
right.
This right here. This right here."
I
So
love
he
that.
filled my cup because it's just been like monotonous of one thing after
Mhm.
another. And it made my week. Definitely filled my cup, made me, realize that there's other things besides just like home and school and work, because I feel like that's the reciprocal process that I'm in
Mhm.
right now. And
Mhm.
like I don't even have time. My friends are like, "You want to go hang out, have a fire?" And I'm like, I can't even do anything right now. So
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm so exhausted by the time Friday comes that I take the whole weekend to sleep.
Yep, literally. I feel
I
like
think I
too. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I saw something on TikTok that it said like, "Oh, thank you for the Saturday and Sunday where I get to run my errands and get to like mow my lawn and do my
In my
laundry and all this
house.
other stuff." Yeah, and then I had to work all these, during the week, and then I get to come home and like spend 2 hours with my kids, and yeah, thank you
Right.
for
Amen.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard because I don't know. Everybody's like coming everybody knows like obviously like my friends and my family and whatever and even at my internship like everybody obviously knows I started and they're all like kind of same thing like you Michelle, like they're using me because there's someone out on maternity leave, so like they're
Mhm.
paying me, which is
Yeah.
great, but then like I'm not learning, like I'm literally a social worker right now, like,
Hmm.
and I'm just
Right.
expected to kind of do what they're doing, and it's hard because everybody's like, I'm also home with my two kids. Like I don't have a full-time job outside of my internship and being home with my kids. My husband works every day of the week. So like
Right.
when everybody around me is like, "Oh my God, do you love it? Do you love it?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great when I'm there, but like I can't wait for it to be over." Like
Right.
it's so inconvenient to every part of my life to have to interrupt so many things going on to show up for 8 hours twice a week. Like that
Right.
takes out so much time for like my homework and this other class and these kids and like because my husband's never home and like, there's so many things to be done. Like, how do you do it all and be sane, you
I
know?
know.
Yeah.
I just want to be to
I
that
want to
main
be
part. I wish we could just fast forward. All get A's
right,
and fast forward.
right.
Yeah.
I literally was like, you know what? Is this worth it? Like, are we sure? Are
I
we
That's
know.
sure?
funny. No, that's
Oh,
funny you say that, Jesse, because last week I started taking my own clients, but somebody was in there shadowing me, right? Like, so I
yeah.
took the lead and they were in there shadowing me. And the girl that I had was a 16-year-old girl. She came in with her mom. And so I started asking her all like the screening questions, and I was getting like one word answers. Yep. Yep. So I would ask another question. It was just like one word answers. I literally left that session like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I cannot do this every single day. I
Right.
hated it. I hated it, hated it, hated it. I was like, I was questioning what I was doing. I'm like, why am I doing this? First of all, I've said since I started doing this, why do I want to be a social worker? I don't even like people half the time. And then when I had that session, I was like, could I do this all day long? Well, I have said that I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like therapy, like this
Sure.
type of work,
Yeah.
one on one. Wasn't quite sure if that's what I wanted to do. But that last Monday, I came home, I called my sister. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this all day long. And she was like, maybe this isn't what you want to do. She goes, but then maybe you'll find that one client that will be like, yes, this is what you want to do, because maybe that just wasn't your one. And
That's
I'm like,
true.
yeah, I get that. But that one session made me feel like, what?
Draining.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like, how
Yeah.
is this therapy? Like,
I
yes, you
know.
came here, but
Yeah.
this isn't like, you need to give me something, girl.
Yeah. It's so hard too because like being in a school and everybody's like, like they're like, do you like what do you want to do? And I'm like, not this. Like,
Right,
which makes it even
right,
harder because I'm like yes, I did it because like it's comfort for me, but it's also like something that like yeah, I don't want to do it, but I also should experience it. Like, you know what I
right.
mean? Just to be like, okay, yep, check. Nope, not for me. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh yeah.
Middle schoolers are super mean. So I do day treatment.
Oh
So I
God.
had a middle schooler. I was walking by. He goes, "There's this lady who she's a wannabe therapist." And so she goes, he goes, "Why are you walking so close to me?" So I started shuffling him closer to him. I go, "At least I'm more of a therapist than you are." And I
Yeah.
walked away.
Oh my
And he was
gosh.
like, did she just talk to me like that? I was like, that's
Right.
right. I know what middle schoolers are like, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
That's so funny. Oh my
It
gosh.
was funny.
They're all like just mean and ratchet. Like,
They,
yeah,
these
and
middle
yeah.
it's
schoolers are.
hard. Yeah.
They're like
And
looking
like,
at you like
God,
they are.
I try to remember what it was like to be a middle schooler.
I
You know?
prefer
Yeah.
high school and younger. Middle school,
Oh yeah.
especially in day treatment, they're hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, so the two clients I have this one, and then I have an 11-year-old coming in with some behavioral stuff, and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with him? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with him. Like, his own mother doesn't even know what to do with him. What am I supposed to
What
do
makes
with
me
him?
qualified?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Like, I don't know shit about shit. You want me to tell you how to parent? Like, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to be struggling with that, but we'll see what
Sometimes I
tomorrow
wonder.
brings.
I like that. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just think like, am I qualified for this? Am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I had this I'm going off on a tangent. I had a
Me
client
too.
and he was having a meltdown in the hallway because him and another client got into it. Well, he was in the sensory room and he was jumping off like the taller mats onto the other ones. And he's this kid that doesn't stop moving. He was just jumping and jumping. And so I come in there like I'm some kind of therapist and I'm like, oh yeah, buddy, let's get it out. Get out that, jump. And the person that's in there for like the to calm them down was like, well, we need him to be safe. And I was like, sorry, he's jumping.
Right.
And so I just let him jump and he literally jumped for 5 minutes and then he put a beanbag on top of him and then processed the whole thing with me. Like, let the kid jump.
Who gives
Yeah.
a shit?
But somehow they listened to me. I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Well, when I was in with my supervisor observing a girl, I mean, literally she probably said two things to her that was in the form of therapy. Other than that, they colored and played with the fidget toy, and they
Yep.
said if that's basically all you can get from her that day, that's all you can get.
Yep.
So
Which
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry, but oh, that's
but
torture.
it's just, and I
See,
think I'm
I
like, is
enjoy
this
that.
just?
You guys are on the opposite spectrum of me.
I said, is just this the way that the parents think that they're getting therapy for their child, or is this like a mandate, or like what? I'm not quite. I don't know. I don't know. I got a lot to learn, I guess. I don't
Or
know.
you just need to find what you're interested in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
just like,
it's just,
because that's not, I'm sorry, but that might not be, that just
yeah,
period might not be your cup of tea. You
Yeah.
know what
right,
I mean?
right.
Same. Well,
Yeah. You
anyways,
want
We'll see.
client it sounds like you want clients that are able to process, and that's like
like,
adults. Teenagers
yeah,
are like,
Yeah,
I don't know how to process. And I'm used to teenagers because I worked for Pathways for 8 years, and I
mhm.
found that I really enjoy teenagers and younger kids. But you want kids, you want like adults that are like, this is why I'm here. You know, people like us that go to therapy and know about therapy and
hmm,
process stuff, like to
I feel
learn new
yeah,
like
skills.
for me, the sweet spot is like 15 to 18 because and then you get past 18 and you get adults that are like, oh, I don't know. I don't know
yeah.
why I'm here. I don't know.
I
And you're
told,
like, what? Yeah.
yeah, I
Like
told the
we're
front
all
desk. I
mentally
said,
unwell, sir. We're
I
all
told
not well.
I told the front desk, I said, these are the clients I want. I want the
Yeah.
little 17-year-old that just broke up with her boyfriend. I can talk to her.
Oh,
I want the mom who's upset about, I had to tell him, I'm like, you need to do a screening process before you give me anybody.
yeah,
I'm
seriously. Oh my God.
like, these are the people I want.
So just like a quick note before we move on to Katie is this just recaps my week, right? I'm listening to you guys talk and I get peppermint oil in my eye.
Oh,
That
Are
is
you
how my week
okay?
has been going. So
I was
just
wondering why you were
just
covering your
yep,
eye.
yep, here it is. Peppermint oil right in my eye. Anyways, Katie, go ahead. I'll
Are
move
you
on.
okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's fine.
Okay. I love you guys. I'm gonna miss these
Same.
days with you guys. Um, who filled my cup? I would probably say my wife, just because it's been a lot. Um, and she was off this weekend, which was great. She works every other weekend at the hospital, so um, we went apple picking. We brought
Aw.
our son, so it was his first time apple picking. So that was really nice. It was definitely needed that time to kind of reset. Because I have a busy week coming up, and last week was tiring. So I would say she definitely fills my cup. She helps me to look forward to, one day at a time, but also May. Really, I just keep saying I need to get to May. I know there's two more classes after that, but
I know.
I need to get to May.
Same.
Yeah,
Counting
yeah.
down. It's gonna be
And
October tomorrow.
I don't
Or
know
two
about you
days.
guys,
October.
but I feel like this time of year shit picks up. Like, okay, we have
Yeah.
holidays, we're gonna zoom right through, and then you
Hmm.
have
Yeah.
January and you're like, perfect. We only have a few,
Yeah.
not much longer. I feel like it'll just
Yeah.
at least
Well, I
I'm
feel like
Definitely.
we're just getting into our internships, but once we get into the groove of it, like me, I'll be starting to see my clients, and then we're
yes.
just getting started. But now, once we get into the routine of it, it'll start going by faster. And not that I wish for time to go
Mhm.
faster and faster and faster, but yeah, sorry about your eye.
I know.
And
Are
now it's in
you
my other
okay? Do
eye.
you need to get
It's
like a
fine.
washcloth?
No, I put water on my sleeve. It's fine. Um, okay, so moving on to our next, we only have a few more minutes, but moving on to our next topic of discussion is, um, which we talked about this last time, but we're going to talk about it again, verbal and nonverbal communication. So, why don't we just go around and give an example of each? Maybe each of us could give like a quick example of what both looks like for me. Like maybe what's your top form of like I don't know. Like, what do you need to know that people are like listening to you? I guess. Like, is it verbal? Is it nonverbal? What's more important to you? Like, for me, I know that I need like nonverbal active listening. Like, I need like a head nod or like if you're just sitting there like that, I'm gonna be like, I don't really want to talk to you. So I need some like positive body language, but I also need like for example, I hate when you're talking to someone and they're just like, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Like not in a validating way. They're just like not interested almost, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a difference between being like, yeah, no, like I get that for sure, or just being like, yeah, please shut up. Like, what else do you have to say? So I feel like I need a very specific validation when it comes to nonverbal and verbal communication. So I think that has a lot to do with trauma though, for sure, for me. So who wants to go next?
I can go. I agree with what you said for sure. Nonverbal, I definitely need some like head shakes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for you to at least be looking towards me, not
Yes.
like looking off or watching TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I like when people like rephrase what I said, like they just kind of paraphrase it and like then I can hear what I'm saying, but from their point of view, and then I can be like, oh, like, is that
Right.
really like that? I can then question myself and be like, is that really how I feel? Or like then I can also be like, am I not communicating this well enough? Because
That's not what I
sometimes I do
meant.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely think I need like acknowledge that they're listening, but also like be able to repeat back what I said so I can hear it. I like that too.
Perfect. Shauna, how about you?
So I kind of want to add to Katie's. This is probably not very nice of me, but so sometimes my husband comes home and like he's just jibber jabbering about work and it's kind of boring because I don't really understand construction and he's like talking about all these measurements and I kind of just like I do that like I do like the reality I do like the check in like I just kind of repeat the last little bit of what he said and so he thinks that I'm listening. I like use my
That's
therapy
so
techniques
accurate.
kind of
Yeah.
like in that conversation so he thinks I'm listening when I'm really
Right.
not listening.
Right. You're like,
Um
oh my God, that's actually really cool.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
Wow, just so when you guys were working on that bathroom, because he's like said bathroom somewhere in there, are you guys done with the tile work? Like I just kind of it's so
yeah.
I just use that. It's, I
Until
don't
he
know.
says
It's so
tile work. We replaced the toilet today. What are you talking about?
I
Yeah.
know sometimes that happens. Stop, Michelle. Sometimes that happens. And he's like, we haven't gotten to the tile yet. I'm like, oh shit, I'm paying
Oh,
attention, I
Sorry.
swear.
right.
Um, so the verbal, I think I don't mind if someone doesn't look at me because I'm that type of person. I have ADHD, so when someone looks at me straight in my eyes and I have to look back at them, I get distracted.
Little
And I'm
panic
like
mode.
I'm like it's like this weird ADHD thing and I'm like, "Oh, their eyebrows look pretty nice today." And I'm like, "That's not what we're talking about here. Like
Right.
that's not." So like I don't care if you don't look at me, but at least like when I'm done talking, at least answer me.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. Like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay." Like, not continuous, like Jesse was saying, like, that's a little weird, but just, "Oh, okay." Just acknowledge that I actually said something or respond to my question.
Mhm.
So, I guess more verbal than nonverbal. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care if you're curled up on a ball on the couch somewhere, like, and you're not as long as you go, "Uh-huh," like, when I'm done, at
Yeah.
least, like, you're kind of listening. I don't know. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that comes from having these teenage boys, Shauna, because I have it too. So we're just like,
yeah.
just acknowledge that you heard me in some type of
Yep.
way. You don't have to be
Yep.
looking at me, but just be like, heard you, mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
'Cause
Yep.
I'm the same with you. Like, if I am having a conversation with someone and I'm looking at you, I like start drifting off and I'm still talking to you, but I think it just becomes awkward after so long that you're just like constantly staring at someone.
Mhm.
Just like,
Yes.
I'm tired of looking at you. So now I'm just like looking over, but I'm still talking to you. So it's like, but I don't know. But yeah, just acknowledge that you're listening to me, but I don't think I need you to constantly be looking at me but that could be, mm, that could just be something that I'm used to, 'cause maybe
Mhm.
my husband doesn't always look at me. I hmm,
Isn't
don't
that
you
interesting?
shouldn't ask my opinion about things because I got things messed up over here.
Yeah.
Oh, so do I. Like, I'm starting to analyze myself. Like, how come I don't want people to look
Right,
at me? Like, what?
That's a real thing though. That's a real thing because
right.
sometimes like I notice like the kids at school, sometimes the kids with like the most trauma, like they don't feel safe
Mhm.
enough to look at
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So like sometimes for me that looks like which I wish someone did this with me, but I also have ADHD. Well, I don't know if I have ADHD or if I'm just like a traumatized ball of stress, but I feel like the kids at school, I have to be like, hey, look at me for a second. Like, you're safe. Like, it's okay. Like, you're okay. Because these kids are like 5,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And they're
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Um, the worst thing, I don't know what, Shauna, something you said reminded me of this, but I was just gonna share the worst thing literally that happens to me all the time. And I have no idea why, but like when I'm talking to someone and we're like having an in-depth conversation, my mind will literally go blank at least once. And then like I'll be talking and then I'll be like, and then it'll be dead quiet for literally at least 10 seconds. And it's the most painful 10 seconds of my life because I'm like, okay, who do I look at? I'm panicking. What was I saying?
Yeah.
This is horrible. And then I'm like, oh, right. So, anyways, and I'm like, God, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I just carry on a normal conversation?
Well, I
Sometimes
was
like glitch in the middle of it. Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
no, I was just gonna say I was shadowing one of the therapists, and I was just like jotting down notes and stuff like that. I totally like zoned out of this whole thing and just couldn't I'm worried that I'm gonna do that in a session for 45 minutes. Like, what if I
Right.
just stopped listening because it's just whatever they were talking about, I was just like totally zoned out. But I have been in with a therapist where they've been in there yawning. I mean,
Oh,
she caught herself yawning. So I was like, well, maybe it's just not me, but some of this stuff is, I don't know. Definitely,
crazy.
I don't know.
I have
That
ADHD,
makes
so I
sense.
have to literally be in the middle of a conversation, and if someone's talking, I will self-talk, and I'll be like, "Shauna, focus. This is important."
Right.
Yeah.
It
Because
makes sense
otherwise,
why,
I'll just like zone out and be like, "What are we having for dinner?"
right.
Oh, someone's talking to me. Shauna, focus.
Have you
Totally
guys
forgot
seen
what they were talking about.
Have
Yes.
you seen that? This is like a little last side note before we sign off here. That's hilarious. And if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna send it to you because have you ever seen the TikTok that it's the girl and she's like in the woods hiking with her husband and her husband's behind her passed out and she's like has her phone and she's laughing. She's like, "Oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh my gosh, Declan, you have to see this," and turns around and looks at him and goes, "Oh right, 911, 911,
Oh
911."
yes, that would be me.
I'm like, that's 100% me. Like,
Yep.
you're
Yeah.
dead? Cool. Look at this.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
I got
sorry. Yeah.
distracted. Squirrel.
Oh my gosh. So funny. Oh my
That's what
gosh.
my husband says to me when I like get distracted and I'm not paying attention. He goes, "Did you see that squirrel?" And I'm like, "Oh, come on!" Like,
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Okay,
Yep.
ladies. Well, I think we covered all of our bases. So if
We did.
we are ready to sign off, I'm ready to sign off. I'm starving. So,
Yeah.
thanks so much for coming, and I hope that I get to see you guys next week. I feel like we had a great group.
Yes, we
thank you.
did.
Yeah.
As usual.
Perfect.
Thank
All
you
right.
Good night.
guys.
Good
Have
night,
a great
ladies.
week,
Bye.
everyone.
You
You too.
too.